Tulsa Fire Department responded to this apartment complex around 9 this morning. This fire at Harper's Lodge Apartments affected 24 units.
Oh my gosh, how does that work when you're so far away? Like, how can you handle everything? And a lot of people had mentioned to us, it's not if one of your apartment communities, has a fire, it's when.
Hey everyone, Suzy here from Adventurous Real Estate Investors. Today, we're in Trebinje, Bosnia, and Michael and I are super excited to be able to explore another place. It's been a lot of fun being able to just film with all of these cool backgrounds, so we hope that you love it too. Yeah, you can see that there's a lot going on both sides. It's just really, really beautiful here. Before we filmed a video in Croatia, and now we're up in the mountains from where we were before. Totally different landscape, and it's just super beautiful. But what am I gonna chat with you about today, right? So, as many of you don't know, one of our properties experienced a fire. Yes, took out an entire building. And how many apartments were in that building? 24. So that was about 4 months ago. And I kind of want to talk to you about that journey within the 4 months, because it's kind of a big deal, right? I mean, we had heard over and over, and a lot of people had mentioned to us, it's not if one of your apartment communities, has a fire, it's when. And we just didn't think ours would be so soon. But so you might think like, oh my gosh, how does that work when you're so far away? Like, how can you handle everything? The greatest part is that I am involved, but not as much as you think. So like the fire happened and immediately, right? Like our property manager took care of a lot, made sure all of our residents were okay, which they were, thankfully, made sure that the residents knew where they could go live next, where they could transfer, what apartments they could live in. So because our property management company is larger, she has other properties that our residents could go to, which was great. With that, then what happens next? It's actually a really slow process that we couldn't have really imagined. So the insurance company wants to come out and review everything. So they do, but that takes about a week or two. You definitely have to close everything off. That's what they ask you to do right away, and then board everything up just so that people stay out of the area, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. But once the insurance company comes out and inspects the building, we just waited. We waited about 2.5 to 3.5 weeks maybe to get any results back, to get an answer back. How many different investigations are going to do, because they want to figure out what the cause of the fire was, but if they can't, then they keep searching. So for us, the cause of the fire was undetermined. And so it took a little longer for us to figure everything out. But during this entire process, it's like, wait, Suzy, like, who's helping you? What's happening? We were introduced to an owner advocate, and this owner advocate, we do not pay them directly. They all get paid through the insurance claim, right? So you can choose to handle it all yourself, but we find that like focusing on our properties, how they're operating, and trying to find new ones was a better use of our time. So an owner advocate is in Tulsa helping us with this entire process, right? So I have meetings with him. I have meetings with the property management company. I answer any questions that the insurance company has. But so while we're waiting, right, because it's still only been, a little over a month in, like our passive investors are also wondering what is going on. And it's a really weird situation and place to be in, because we're like, we don't know, like the insurance company is there, but then we're waiting. So once the insurance company decided that it was undetermined, they give us a huge list. This entire document size that they sent us was about like 378 pages. And what that compromised is what they think everything costs and how much it'll cost to rebuild. And like, we maxed out our insurance coverage because we have to build a brand new building. It's wild. But so then we're still in a very slow process, right? Because it's like, wait a second, now we're down 24 apartments for income. What happens? So in our insurance, we have business interruption income. And that also took a little bit to kick in. The insurance company has to send it to another outside company so that they can analyze all of our data.
how much we'd been collecting, what are the prices of everything, like what was our loss to lease, how much bad debt that we have. So then they can figure out how much the insurance company is going to give us to cover the income that we lost. That also took a really long time for us to finally get a check. We were 4 months in. Okay, so this is a really, really, really long process. So it's like, okay, now that the insurance company you're working with figuring out business interruption income, it's undetermined. What's been happening since then? So little by little, we have the city come out to be like, okay, what do we need to have up to code? We have different contractors come out and give bids on what the rebuild would be like, right? We have to talk about, are we tearing it all down? Are we going to try to keep the shell? Like, it's a very, very slow process that requires just a lot of patience. And so now we found a company who is going to go pretty much wall by wall to figure out how much we can save and what we can save, right? Because we don't want to just bulldoze it all. Like, that costs a lot of money. And so we're going pretty much room by room and being like, okay, we need to tear all of this room out, or we need to tear all of this room out, just so that we can save as much as possible. And that's not just like a money decision. It's also a social responsibility, because we don't want to continue to just put a ton of waste into the landfill. We do want to save as much as possible. So again, like during this 4 months, the only things that have really happened is that we finally received business interruption income. The fire was undetermined. We received a check for the fire. And the fourth and final thing is that now we're finally to the point where we're only taking down wall by wall. So although it's been 4 months and you might think a lot can happen in that time, it really doesn't. With that, here are a couple of photos of what the fire has looked like, right? Like, you can see that it came from above. It's just crazy in this entire journey, like how isolated it was. But because of that fire, the whole building had to go, because what the fire did not ruin, the firefighters did with water. And so here are some more photos. You can just see some of the other damage that happened. And so I'm going to start coming to you once a quarter so that we can discuss what the progress was in this fire that we had at Harper's Lodge Apartments Communities. If you have any questions about this or want to chat more about like, oh my gosh, I experienced a fire, or I just want to learn more, please drop your questions and comments below. I'd be happy to answer any that you have. And if you like this video, please smash that like button and remember to ring that bell so that you can get more videos from us. So until next time, explore more, adventure awaits. Woo!